Okay, anyway, so we are in the process of basically either harmonizing or destroying ourselves as a species, and it's very clear that and evident that we are on the path of the latter. But it's never ever too late in the sense of learning how to see and recognize the model that is needs to be a universal standard across all our societies and cultures to help us better implement harmony and coexistence with all life here on Earth. And I think that until we have this universal school of thought or ideological process that all things fundamentally become built on it in our societies and hold those accountable who do not do such things, we're never going to see our policies become truly equal. We're never going to see corporations dig their greedy hands out of every aspect of our life. We're not going to see those things until we begin to implement a universal thought process that is a standard for all policies, institutions, societal interactions. All things must be built off of these principles, which go hand in hand with our spiritual principles as being a spiritual being here on earth. So basically, what all this is helping us do is manifest the spiritual inward process and function of a human being and projecting it into our external affairs. And by creating that alignment from internal to external, we are basically embodying what it is like to be Christ-like, or the philosophy of the Christ consciousness. Whenever that light or that harmony and that beauty within us becomes manifested in all our affairs, we are living a godly existence, a godly life, a life in harmony with all things. And to me, that is getting towards the realm of understanding the model that it is required for humans to properly spiritually evolve while being here in the physical realm. We have become very, very demonic in nature, society-wise, and I don't mean demonic as in like Satan and ideology like that. I mean demonic in the sense of a lower, impulsive, restless energy within us. That's predominantly the main thing that humans feed collectively. That unquenchable thirst. Our society has been ultimately built off of this. And the issue with this is that when our societies glorify desire-seeking behavior, and that becomes the norm, it's basically a window into where we're at spiritually as a species. Which, if you're focusing on these things and you're aware of these things, it creates a desire and a need within you to understand and help illuminate these things. So you yourself personally don't become a victim of materialistic desires and impulses that basically rewire your brain to where you can't naturally and organically tap in to the higher frequencies and the higher ways of thought that constitute what a human being is all about. If we're unable to tap into these things, if we're unable to tap into what we naturally are as a species, we would be de-evolving. We would be going backwards in terms of progression. Because if we have these functions within us, naturally built in within us, like a radio frequency antenna, you know what I mean? We are, us as a human being, or are organically built with these higher dimensions and higher frequencies within us as a result of us being a spiritual being in a physical body. And we choose, whether conscious or unconscious, to cut off and sever that connection by feeding our primal self. And we do that collectively. Our entire culture and our entire society will be built upon those mentalities. And honestly, that becomes a very, very scary place to grow up in and a very, very scary place to embark on a spiritual journey in, because uh, once you recognize and realize these things are prevalent in our societies, it naturally and organically creates a desire to want to look inside yourself and see. And when you do see, you are very, very quickly overwhelmed with the reality that the things are spiritually bankrupt. Um, and obviously, like, the longer you go down that journey, you'll realize how beautiful that is to be at that place and be in that state, as it shows that in the grand scheme, uh, basically falling into those lower primal vibrations are a part of spiritual evolution. It's just that whenever you dip down into those places, we're meant to analyze and look and make corrections. And if we have a society that fuels these things that need resolved and worked on in ourselves, then it just becomes that much harder to be able to spot that within yourself without having external influences encourage that behavior. Um, I know I've started this conversation with speaking about we don't have a proper model, but as a human being on what to truly, I mean, we have divine laws and universal laws and spiritual principles that are based off of our inner workings and our inner compass. But in terms of having a physical and evident system and a evident model precisely on how to function entirely as a human in in today's times, that we can begin to try to solve this, to try to understand this better. I've had a very wild journey so far, and I've been in a lot and lots of dark places, and I've isolated and cut myself off from my higher self. Um, and a lot of that has compelled me to be and say and think and act the way I do. Um, I will never, I will never ever stop thinking this way, and I will never stop feeling compelled to try to share this information for my fellow man and woman or other on Earth. Um, I believe that there are many, many of us who feel this desire and are compelled from their pain and their trauma and their experience to um, take on the role of deciphering complex and sometimes esoteric understandings and breaking them down in the layman terms, and not just in layman terms, but just concepts and ideas and phrases that are more uh, susceptible to being understood by a wider and broader audience. It's very important to take these mysteries and take these philosophies that from ancient time has been like hidden and concealed in riddles, or ultimately dismantled and externalized and turned into parables and all these allegories with so many things. And it's just not everybody is like that. Not everybody has the capacity to entertain those things to gain their insight. So I believe it's very important for those to do what I'm doing, and just ultimately just have discussions and just talk. And I believe heavily in the power of thought provocation. You know what I mean? Energy, and it ties into energy transference. So if your intention and your desire inside you is very wholesome and genuine and authentic, and you're speaking on certain topics, it's creating a certain energy within you that is ultimately transferring from the speaker and the one providing the information into the receiver, and that leads their thoughts to certain things and certain understandings. And I believe this word of mouth type of teaching and this type of speaking is how we have passed down truly truly complex and powerful things, because we were ultimately transferring that energy. We were binding words to it and giving away certain energy, and these energies are enter you into certain realms and initiates you into certain uh, um, ideological processes that allow you to view and perceive things in a very, very specific manner. Um, that's why energy transference is very, 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 very big and very, very important to me. When properly used, and is not used for corrupting us or creating impulsive desires inside of us, it can be used to help enlighten and to help provide information that could help us overall on our spiritual journey. But yes, I'm going to keep doing these videos. I just don't know how I'm going to do them or whatnot, but I just believe that it's very important to stay connected, and it's very important to put yourself out there, even though it may seem very, very stupid and pointless. Just put yourself out there, especially if you're truly from a place of sincerity and just trying to help in the way you can. Please put yourself out there. Please. People are struggling and people are going through so much right now. And something you could say could completely radicalize and change their life entirely. Love is so important. And I know that love is the lubricant, and compassion and empathy is the lubricant in which will start the engine of spiritually evolving as a species collectively. And until we learn and until we understand that just because a bunch of hippies back in the day took a word and used it so much to where it lost its meaning and people weren't truly embodying what they were saying, does not mean that today, in today's time, we have to hate and immediately dismiss people who are portraying or appearing enlightened or what we would call woke. Like, of course, I know that there are people out there who unintentionally bind their ego to such spiritual principles and ultimately are making themselves look like a dumbass. But to be fair and to be honest, that individual is still going through their spiritual process. And sometimes the ego will come up and bind to things and give you certain information and insights that you will think are your spirit's perspective. In all reality, that is just from a lack of your spiritual connection, and you learn along the way the proper and correct ways to think and to speak. And because at first it comes what? It comes the information. The information comes first to any individual. Like whenever you're learning how to build something, you learn first. You don't immediately. So when it comes to spiritual principles and spiritual ideology, we learn it. Therefore, we can say it back and we can tell others this information. But the problem is that we have a hard time implementing it into our day-to-day lives, which will truly bring about the energy when we are speaking about it that will actually make a true impact. But anyway, just be loving, be kind, be sincere. Put yourself out there. Stay connected. Trust me, I've lived a life where I have felt alone, isolated, and indifferent my entire fucking life. I have seen the world in such a sinister, dark tone that feels inescapable. That feels like a never-ending, quick-sinking hole that does not have a bottom. I understand these things more than anything. It's been a fight most of my life. That's just why I feel the deep importance to share these things, and hopefully somebody out there listens and it helps them. And yeah, that's what it's about. But I'm gonna continue to make these, and just like I said, I'm just sharing and talking and just being myself and just putting myself out there. But yeah, I'm just gonna kind of loosely start off with the topic and then just delve into things and let it branch out and go from there. But anyway, I'm enjoying the water here. It's a beautiful day today, and I hope you have a beautiful day too. All right.